Your polite neighbor, the one who waves every morning, will be the one trying to kill you. That is the single, non-negotiable truth of a long-term blackout. The power grid isn't a utility. It's a restraining bolt on 300 million people. When it breaks, the first sound you'll hear isn't generators. It's the sharp, sudden shattering of glass. Not from a stranger in a mask. From the guy who borrowed your lawnmower last month. He knows you have food. The darkness isn't the enemy. The man next door, realizing his kids are thirsty, is. Society has a 72-hour expiration date, and I'm going to show you the precise locations that become war zones in the first 72 minutes. The 72-hour illusion. We are told that civilization is robust. It is a lie. The polite veneer of society, the agreement to not take what isn't ours, is thinner than a grocery store window. Our entire world runs on a fragile, just-in-time delivery model. The food on the shelf, the fuel in the pump, the medicine at the pharmacy, it all arrived less than 3 days ago. When the trucks stop, the system starves. Government agencies like FEMA operate on this 72-hour assumption. They admit that most major cities have, at best, 3 days of food and water on the shelves. The Department of Justice confirms this timeline. Their data shows that violent crime can spike by over 250% after just 72 hours without power. But this isn't a switch. It's a psychological countdown. For the first 24 hours, it's an inconvenience. People are frustrated, stuck in traffic, and expect the lights to return. By 48 hours, the normalcy bias begins to crack. Thirst sets in. The food in the refrigerator is spoiled. The realization dawns that no one is coming to help. By 72 hours, the social contract is void. The human brain, stripped of its modern comforts, switches from community to survival. The 3 threat vectors. Before we map the where, you must understand the who. When the grid dies, you are not facing one enemy. You are facing 3 distinct threats that will emerge in waves. The first and largest is the desperate. This is your neighbor. This is the mother who ran out of formula, or the elderly man who needs his heart medication. They are not evil, but they are driven by a raw biological panic. They are emotional, unpredictable, and dangerous in their sheer numbers. They will form mobs, and they will justify taking what you have. The second threat is the opportunist. This is the classic looter. They use the chaos as cover for personal gain. They are smashing windows to steal televisions, liquor, and tools. They aren't necessarily looking for a violent confrontation, but they will exploit any weakness and use violence to escape. They are the ones who steal the generators and the gasoline. The final and most deadly threat is the predator. These are organized gangs or sociopaths who thrive in a world without rules. They are not just taking resources. They are hunting resourceful people. They are looking for the preppers. They are looking for the fortified homes. They are the reason you must be invisible. Understanding these 3 vectors is critical because each one targets different locations at different times. The first wave, biological panic. When the grid dies, the first wave of chaos is driven by the desperate. It's not driven by greed. It's driven by the body screaming for something it cannot live without. This wave is violent, immediate, and utterly predictable. Pharmacies, the ticking clock. Forget bread. Forget water. The first places to be gutted will be pharmacies. Why? Because over 2/3 of Americans are on daily prescription medication. When the power dies, the cold chain for drugs like insulin breaks instantly. But it's not just insulin. It's blood pressure medication, it's anti-seizure drugs, it's psychiatric medication. An entire population's chemical stability vanishes. This isn't just a riot, it's a mass withdrawal event. Refills stop. Suddenly, millions of people are on a 3-day clock, counting down to withdrawals, seizures, organ failure, or death. These people will not be polite. They will not wait in line. They will kill for a bottle of pills. Not to get high, but to keep a child from convulsing. Pharmacies are bunkers of survival. They contain alcohol for disinfection, antibiotics, and painkillers. In a collapse, pain relief becomes currency. A bottle of ibuprofen could buy a week of food. During Hurricane Katrina, pharmacies were emptied with tactical precision. When they burn, that crowd starts remembering which of their neighbors mentioned being a diabetic. Gas stations, the dead artery. The second domino is fuel. Gas stations will erupt into violence before most people even realize the power is out for good. The paradox of the gas station is its greatest vulnerability. The pumps require electricity. The underground tanks can be completely full, holding thousands of gallons. But without power, that fuel is inaccessible. It is a locked treasure chest in plain sight. And the backup generators most stations have? They'll be the first thing stolen by the Opportunists. Fuel is not just for escaping the city. It's for generators. It's for chainsaws to cut firewood. It's for heating a home. A single 5-gallon jug becomes a bar of gold. You will see lines stretching for blocks, which will quickly devolve into armed confrontations, siphoning, and sabotage. And the fuel itself becomes a ticking clock. Modern E10 gasoline begins to separate as ethanol attracts water, contaminating the very prize they're fighting for. They're killing each other for fuel that might not even work. But as the immediate biological needs are met with violence, a new economy is born. This is when the smart and the ruthless stop thinking about today and start thinking about next week. The currency of collapse. In a world without dollars, value is reassigned. It attaches to things that can relieve pain, alter reality, or fight infection. The new centers of wealth, and therefore the new centers of extreme violence, are the places that store this currency. Liquor stores, the moral multi-tool. When the lights go out, alcohol becomes one of the most versatile commodities on Earth. It is medicine, it is fuel, it is currency, and it is morale in a bottle. Consider this. Over 15 million Americans are alcohol dependent. After just 24 hours, severe withdrawal kicks in. We're talking hallucinations, seizures, and uncontrollable tremors. That raw desperation will lead them straight to the liquor store, crowbar in hand. But they won't be alone. The pragmatist will be there too. A simple lighter runs out. A bottle of 151 proof rum is a fire starter that never fails. It's an antiseptic that can clean a deep wound when the hospitals are overrun. The Opportunists will be there, seeking barter gold. A fifth of high-proof vodka could trade for a course of antibiotics or a box of ammunition. When Venezuela collapsed, smuggled rum was a key medium of exchange. The smart survivor stocks clear spirits, quietly. But once those stores are empty, the mob will start hunting for the person who still has a bottle. Hospitals, the forbidden fortress. This is the #1 most dangerous location on the entire map. In the first 48 hours, hospitals will transform from sanctuaries of healing into slaughterhouses. This is not hyperbole, it is history. Most U.S. hospitals have backup generators, but they have a finite fuel supply, typically rated for 72 hours. When that 73rd hour hits, the building goes dark. Ventilators shut off. Elevators freeze between floors. Life-saving machines go silent. The building becomes a vertical tomb. But that is not why it's on this list. It is on this list for what it stores. The true prize is the pharmacy vault. Painkillers, sedatives, surgical tools, IV fluids, insulin, oxygen tanks, and morphine. In a post-collapse economy, these are the new currency. But you won't be alone. The building is a biological trap. With no power, the sanitation systems fail. The morgues are overflowing. The sick and the dead are in the same hallways. You're not just risking a knife in the back, you're risking walking out with cholera or sepsis. The sick, the addicted, and the predators will come in waves, not to help, but to take. If you have ever for 1 second thought about raiding a hospital, eliminate that thought. It is suicide. While the desperate fight over medicine, the second wave of looters, the Opportunists, are thinking bigger. They're thinking about fortification and long-term supplies. The second wave, the Opportunists. This wave of looters is more organized. They aren't just grabbing what they can carry. They are moving with purpose, often in groups, to secure the means of long-term survival and defense. Hardware stores. The Fortress Builders Depot. Most of the panicked mob will stampede the grocery stores, fighting over the last loaf of bread. The smart survivors and the Opportunists will hit the hardware stores first. Why? Because when society collapses, you don't just need food, you need tools. Food is a finite resource. Tools are a resource multiplier. Hardware stores are packed with everything required to fortify a home, defend a position, and survive. Chainsaws for fuel, propane tanks for cooking, batteries, and they're grabbing weapons that don't look like weapons. A crowbar, a carpenter's hammer, an axe. These stores arm the desperate and the opportunistic at the same time. During the 2011 UK riots, hardware stores were stripped clean, not for weapons, but for plywood and nails to board up windows. But here's what makes them so deadly. Their security is a joke. Big glass windows, minimal staff. Once the first window breaks, it is a feeding frenzy where desperation meets raw utility. Industrial zones, the unseen arsenal. While the mob fights at Walmart, the truly organized gangs, the predators, are in the industrial parks. They are raiding supply depots. They are not looking for food, they are looking for infrastructure. They are looking for bulk chemicals like chlorine for water purification. They are siphoning diesel from truck depots. They are taking welding supplies and bulk copper. But the real prize is the safety supply store. N95 and P100 respirator masks, chemical-proof gloves, Tyvek suits, filtration cartridges. In a world of dust, smoke from constant fires, and airborne disease, the man who can breathe safely is king. These industrial zones are where the weakest looters die and the strongest factions arm themselves for the long term. Big box stores, the last bastion. Costco, Walmart, Target. These are not stores, they are the physical manifestation of the entire global supply chain. They are the last bastion of civilization's abundance. And within 12 hours of a total blackout, they will become meat grinders. They hold everything in one place: food, water, medicine, clothing, camping gear, and weapons. And once they are empty, that chain is broken forever. There are no restocks. We have seen these stores ransacked in under an hour during a simple riot. In a total grid down scenario, that timeline shrinks to 15 minutes. It is a tidal wave of thousands of people driven by pure panic and rage with no security and no law. People will be trampled to death in the aisles, and the greatest danger isn't even inside. It's the parking lot. The predators will wait. They will watch you emerge with a full cart, and they will simply follow you home. You've just done the hard work for them. But the most valuable locations might be the ones the mob overlooks. The ones hidden in plain sight. The hidden vaults, overlooked gold mines. The final wave of scavenging is about finding what everyone else missed. The initial panic has passed, and now it's about sustainable, long-term survival. The smart will avoid the obvious battlegrounds and head for the hidden vaults. Pet stores, the forgotten pantry. Most people will walk right past the pet store until they're starving. On day 4, that 50-pound bag of kibble isn't for Fluffy anymore. It's just food. It's protein, it's fat, it's calories, and it is shelf-stable for years. But that's not even the real prize. The real gold is the survival gear disguised as pet supplies. Heavy-duty leashes become tie-downs and rope. Puppy training pads are perfect for emergency sanitation. A 50-pound bag of kitty litter can be used for a makeshift toilet for weeks. And then there's the medicine. They'll grab the activated carbon from aquarium filters, a superior water purification method. They'll take the heavy-duty stainless steel water bowls. And the animal antibiotics like fish moxifloxacin are often chemically identical to human versions. While the average looter is fighting over canned soup, the smart survivor is quietly walking out of a pet store with enough calories and supplies to last a month. Schools, the sleeping giant. Schools are absolute gold mines that become visible only after the collapse. The average elementary school in the United States has enough non-perishable food in its cafeteria to feed 500 children for at least a week. We are talking massive stores of rice, canned fruit, vegetables, and grains. The walk-in freezers hold tons of calories, but the food is just the start. Think about the nurse's office, a fully stocked mini pharmacy with bandages, antiseptics, and painkillers. The science labs have alcohol, chemicals, and gloves. The gym has mats for sleeping and insulation. The janitor's closet has industrial-strength cleaning supplies. But they are soft targets, designed for children, not defense. They are sprawling buildings with hundreds of windows and unsecured doors. They are an invitation. Once the word gets out, they become battlegrounds. Desperate parents, organized gangs, and lone survivors will all converge on that one known location. The psychology of the crowbar. This brings us back to the beginning. Back to your neighbor. Why does he become the threat? It's not because he's evil. It's because of a psychological trigger called normalcy bias. He spent the first 48 hours believing this couldn't be happening. He didn't prepare. When that bias shatters, it is replaced by a violent, resource-driven panic. He hears your generator. He smells the food you're cooking. In his mind, you didn't prepare. You hoarded. This is the critical failure of the lone wolf survival fantasy. You will not be facing a neighbor. You will be facing a committee of neighbors. They will have held a vote. They will have justified their actions as for the good of the block. They will see you as the enemy. The dragon sitting on a pile of gold they need. You cannot fight a mob that believes it is morally right. The gray man imperative. The real preparation doesn't happen in the dark with a crowbar in your hand. It happens now, in the light. And more importantly, it happens in silence. The goal is not to build a fortress that advertises your wealth. The goal is to be the gray man, to be invisible, to be overlooked, to have what you need long before the crisis hits, and for absolutely no one to know it. Do not mistake gray man for passive. It is an active camouflage. It's about having a generator but soundproofing the shed it's in. It's about having food but venting your cooking smells through a carbon filter. It's about being the person nobody ever suspects of having anything. The man who looks just as desperate as everyone else while holding all the aces. Because when the grid dies, the only thing you can count on is that everyone who didn't prepare knows exactly where you live. Survival isn't about having the most supplies. It's about being the least noticed. What is the one critical, overlooked item that everyone forgets to stock, but that will be worth its weight in gold on day 4? Drop your hidden gem in the comments below. The most creative answer might just save a life.